We got your message, Noctra. Read it, file it. Let us address it. So you wanna talk about timing, wanna talk about control, wanna tell us what stays buried, what the world should and shouldn't know. Interesting coming from the house that moves in shadows cause they scared to be seen. We don't hide what we find, we never did. We document what happened so it can't be erased. Like certain houses, certain histories, certain names got removed from certain registries. Sound familiar, Noctra? Sound like something you know. Sound like what happens when people decide what the world should and shouldn't know, and call it protection. You said a record and the truth ain't always the same, but a record kept in shadow by the ones controlling the frame ain't protection. That's just power wearing a different name. Open file. We don't get to choose what truth survives. Open file. The record exists so nobody lies about what happened, about who was there, about what was done and who didn't care. Open file, you can edit the archive, but you can't edit time. Open file. And everything Noctra been hiding, it's already mine. Open file. The dawn always comes and what was buried always rises into the sun. And let's talk about Zephora since you brought her up. You said she crossing lines, we say she following them up to the source where the lines were drawn by the people who decided whose truth goes on. You call it timing, we call it erasure. You call it protection, we call it control. The same thing Solian called it 6 centuries ago, and we got that on record too. So don't come to us about what stays buried. We've been digging up what people try to hide since before Noctra decided they would be authority on what the world gets to know and when and why. There is a difference between discretion and deciding for everyone what truth they deserve to have. You sat on information about House Amethyst, about the erasure, about the hollow hand, and called it time, while people walked around not knowing their own history. That's not protection, Noctra. That's the same thing the conclave does with better intentions, and we will not be silent about that. We've been paying the cost since the beginning. Every time we publish truth, powerful people want it buried. Every time Zephora followed the thread somewhere nobody wanted her to go, we paid for that. So don't lecture us about timing, don't lecture us about what truth costs. We've been paying the invoice while Noctra been in the shadows, calculating interest on information you've been holding like currency. That's not protection, that's a monopoly on truth, and we done with it. Open file. We don't get to choose what truth survives. Open file. The record exists so nobody lies about what happened, about who was there, about what was done and who didn't care. Open file, you can edit the archive, but you can't edit time. Open file. And everything Noctra been hiding is already mine. Open file. The dawn always comes and what was buried always rises into the sun. We respect you, Noctra. We always have. But the dawn comes, whether you're ready or not, we gon' be there, writing it down when it does. We always are.